Good evening and welcome to the April meeting of the Rutherford County Public Safety Committee. And we'll start and entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda this evening is going to be a
I'm
discussion.
not sure they can hear you.
We're gonna move it up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The first thing on the agenda is a discussion on the increase in the litigation fee. If some of y'all remember, was a couple of months ago, it came up before the commission. It was a recommendation from Commissioner Stevens that we send it up to the General Assembly as a private act to increase the litigation tax for construction from $25 to $50. Well, that private act passed in the General Assembly except with one change, and they said that we can update from 25 and we can add up to $50 more. Plus, we also have another 10-cent litigation tax that 2 years ago we dropped when we had put in a $25 when it can go for a lot more things instead of just construction, and we dropped the $10 fee. So tonight we can take the litigation tax and increase it to $75 for the one tax and put the $10 back in. And this is a fee that is paid to any criminal or civil cases that go before general sessions. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If we need the mayor to go into any more detail, you have it on your screen in front of you there. If we increase the tax the maximum we can, it is still not going to pay all of the $5 million per year that it's going to cost for to pay off the new judicial building and parking garage that goes along with it. But it'll help us out a lot.
Mr. Chairman, I think what they have on their iPad, the first 2 pages is simply a state of Tennessee Attorney General opinion that, as he just told you, a few years ago we dropped the $10 that we were collecting that was for the sole purpose of courthouse, work center, jail, construction and renovation, etc. So this Attorney General's opinion, the first thing there that you see that they did in March of this year says we didn't have to do that. We could have left that in place. So the first thing you need to address is, will you give permission to put that $10 back in place? And then the second thing that we have before you is you can add up to $50 more to the payment of the debt service for the construction of the courthouse and all the other same things that we've listed before. So you can choose to do it all with one particular vote or recommendation. This will have to go to both steering and then probably to budget for sure before we get a final decision on this. But we thought that it was important, since this judicial building is all about public safety and the things that have happened to make people have to go there, that you needed to weigh in on this initially, so we could keep this moving. We didn't want to wait another month to let you guys know about it actually.
Just to let you know, when we had both those litigation taxes, the $25 one that we have now and the $10 one that we did have, fiscal year 2014, it accrued $830,000 for us. Last year, with just the $25 one, it accrued $644,000 in 2015 fiscal year. So just to give you an idea, this, if we increased it to max possible, would add about roughly, this is obviously an estimate, $1.5 million to help pay, and it can only go for construction, these. And that's where thing that's going to be right up the street here, which is a $68 million project. And when it gets into full swing, when we've put in for all the bonds and everything and start paying them off, it's going to be $5 million a year to pay off the interest and principal on that facility. And we would like, some guidance tonight. You heard the mayor say that 2 other committees are going to look at it before it goes to the full commission.
First thing we need to do is reinstate the $10 fee.
Yes, sir, that would be, I think, appropriate, since that's a separate fee. But it's in the same set of code, but it's the very first thing in that set of code that $10 is. So if you would make a motion to reinstate the $10 litigation tax for all civil and criminal charges, for the sole purpose of, there's a whole list of things, but it's construction and renovation of jails, courthouses, etc. It's on both civil and criminal.
We got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gurley? Yes. Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
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 Yes. So,
And now if you could at least endorse a number somewhere between up to $50, you don't have to, but if you think it's the right thing to do, to go ahead and put the full $50 for the same purpose as this $10 is for it to pay the debt related to the construction of the judicial building and any other thing that may come about at some point, but it will take more than this amount of money to pay the full cost of the debt service.
but also it is a private act that we can, if you go the max, we can reduce it later on. If for some reason we feel that that's too much for some of the people, but it is the people that are bringing the charges or the reason for the charges that are putting us in a position to spend $68 million of taxpayers' money on the facility itself, the judicial building, and like I said earlier, also the parking garage.
Mr. Schaefer, just so the minutes will be correct, the private act did not work on this particular one. This is an amendment to the general act,
Okay.
which is only allowable specifically for Rutherford County. So that's how this got passed this time. We're the only ones that can take this up to $50.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion for the $50 on the private act for Rutherford County.
We have a motion to set the fee at $50 for the litigation. Additional $50 for the litigation tax. We need a second.
not be able to pay this fee, is that gonna make them have to stay in jail?
Well, these taxes, these litigation taxes, are just like several others that we already have in play. Those people that are indigent, there is a way for them to appeal to the judge, and they're already able to do that and not have to pay these fees. So it works that way. So we will not collect all of this money, but I don't know how much of it, people will be able to declare their inability to pay, and if the judge so agrees, then they can waive that.
I would like to say something. I really think that, when it comes to taxes, taxes should be the ones that are using the services should be the ones that are paying the taxes. I don't think we should have to spread that litigation tax among all the taxpayers who are doing what they need to do in their lives. So, as you said, there are ways for those that cannot pay, who are indigent, to not be forced to pay that, and that's up to the judge. But in general, my feeling is that if you're breaking the law or if you're filing suit against your neighbor, then you should be the one paying for that service.
Thank you, Commissioner.
With that, I will second that motion.
2 seconds, but we'll take it. Okay. Any further discussion? Call the rolls, please. Ms. Shelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
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 Yes. Now, we can take a look at our consent agenda, which is just the reports from the different committees. And have a motion and a second on this, and there's a couple of them that do have budget amendments, and we'll put those, we'll do those separately as soon as you have your chance to look at the reports.
Mr. Chairman, do you desire a motion on the consent agenda? Yeah, having reviewed this earlier, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, and we'll take up the budget amendment separately.
Have a motion on the consent agenda. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, we'll ask Mr. Gregory then to come up with a pause.
I have a budget amendment to move funds within our current budget, no money outside of our budget. $5,000 to our overtime pay line item from our kennel attendant line item due to vacations and leaves coming up. $1,300 from maintenance agreements to other equipment to purchase 2 armored vests for new officers. $6,000 from drugs and medical supplies into our data processing to purchase a new copier, and $1,000 from our gasoline line item into our office supplies so that we can cover our expenses there for the rest of the budget year.
You heard the request. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve the request as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy, Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
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 I have one other thing, if I may. I just received this email this afternoon at 4:26 from the state of Tennessee regarding the animal-friendly license plate grant that we receive every year. They just sent out the request for applications. Usually I have to come to you all after the fact. Since I just got this before I walked out of the office, I'd like to go ahead and request your permission to apply. You don't put an amount in this year for what you're requesting. Basically, they just divvy up the amount of money among the organizations that they have. There is no county money. I would like to seek your permission to at least apply for that.
You heard the request?
Motion to approve the request.
We got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Mr. Cass.
Good evening. You have my report in the consent agenda. Wasn't planning on being here today, but we just got a rental bill for one of our tower sites, Bradyville site, from Middle Tennessee Electric. It's a bill that we had paid in October, and we assumed that it was due again in October, with bad assumption on our part. It was actually May to May. It just took them a while to get the first bill on that tower site to us. So what I'm asking for is to remove the $3,570 from other supplies and materials, $499 to $351 rentals, so we can go and get that paid, and it will not be a repeating error. It's corrected. We'll be on track for next year.
You heard the request. It's all within his budget. Commissioner, we have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy, Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's fire rescue and non, is it, honor thing. Chief Farley. Unless it's attached.
it's the 8th one, hit cancel right there.
Budget amendment tonight to increase our administrative equipment, which is our turnout gear. We had a motor vehicle accident on I-24, had to extricate a patient out of a van. He was pulling a trailer that was full of paint, and while we were doing the extrication, our turnout gear became soaked in paint. So the insurance claim is replacing that, and I want to put that back in our administrative budget to replace those turnouts. It's $12,545.
Heard the request, and it's within his budget.
Move for its approval.
Got a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Further discussion? Not call the roll, please, Ms. Shelton.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy, Commissioner Reed, Commissioner Torino,
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Is it Sheriff or Deputy Chief? Okay. All right, we'll do that. Ms. Duke?
Be okay if I sit instead of stand so I can
Sure.
spread out?
Yes.
Okay, tonight I've got our March reports in front of you. I will happily answer any questions. The only thing that I would say is of interest is that I've had two of the counties that we were waiting on checks for to pay. So Lincoln has paid for that month as well as Trousdale, but besides that, everything is in order.
Okay. I believe, thank you for the info, the update, but we approved that under the consent agenda. And
Okay.
can I just...
So we're ready for a budget?
Yeah, we're ready for the budget, and just in salaries, et cetera, that's what finance is given when that includes whatever raise there may be this year on your new request?
I have increased hours in part-time detention officers from 16 hours a week to 24.75. So there's a slight increase in that line item, and would also like to increase the part-time educational assistant from 20 hours a week to 29 hours a week.
Is that item 169, Title I? Is that the last one you just said?
Yes.
Okay. She still receive Title I
Yes,
funding?
we're still getting the Title I grant. It's based on population. That would be reimbursable money. We just wanted to go ahead and let everybody know we'd like to increase that.
Oh, okay. Commissioners, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. The Title I positions, there's also a programming coordinator that is Title I, and that's reimbursable with their benefits?
Title I gives us a lump sum based on population, and then they allow us to divide that out.
So we're talking about, what, a 91,000 increase in your budget? Is that?
The way I have it figured, it's about 1.5 is due to the staff increases with insurance. 2.5% is due to other increases. As an example, Rudd Medical has increased their fees this coming year. I also have to do a audit for the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which I've had to include in this budget, and that's a little pricey. And then beyond that, it's just regular increases. And I'd just like to, remind everybody, I put it on the revenue worksheet, the money that we bring in for our detention beds it doesn't completely cover our budget, but it is about 24% that we're putting back into for our budget.
Notice a lot of it's in supplies, like for your toner or your copiers. And I know last year it was $800, and now you're like, what, 4,000?
Right, we've increased the number of printers that we have in the facility, which increases obviously the toners. Some of the DCS packets on the kids that we get prior to accepting them into the facility are 70 pages long, so that's.
Now you got the duty belts too that you've had.
We don't currently have duty belts. I want to go ahead and move that direction, and that's going to be an expense we need to take care of this year.
Head count a lot different today than it was a year ago?
We are increasing. I think the last month's, let me grab it. I think we were about 38 total population. For March, 35 in February. It has gone from being in the high 20s to being in the mid to upper 30s on a regular basis. And of course, many of the things that we take care of is population based. Our meals go up, and you can understand how that would trickle down. No, it's increased. There's average of about 10 extra kids per day.
If there's no further questions, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as submitted and forward to budget.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
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 Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes. I'm going to ask you on your capital plan. Refresh the memories. About roof is leaking on the building.
Right, we've had, our facility has a metal roof. The maintenance department has done a tremendous job trying to work with, in the beginning, the builders and the contractors, and then help us after those contracts have long since run out. This is just sort of as a reminder, we still have leaks in the roof. It's been going on for some time. I think there is currently a plan in place through maintenance, and I believe that it's going to be taken care of out of this fiscal year. I just didn't want it to be a shocker if it doesn't happen and I come back and bring it up and you haven't heard about it yet. So that's why I put it on there.
Well, let's go to the second one, too. The evacuation driveway project.
Okay, so in the current budget, had also talked to the maintenance department about creating a driveway that we could use to when we need to evacuate the facility. And I am also hopeful that that's going to be taken care of out of the maintenance department's budget this current year. There have been some discussions about it. I think originally the price came in a little higher than expected, but now that it's been explained to me that the price of asphalt coincides with the price of gas. So, in theory, if that's correct, then they're hoping that the price won't be as much now as it was when they first started talking about it, and that they'll be able to complete it.
Will this also be in conjunction with the Correctional Work Center using it for evacuation also if need be?
No, it's specific to my building. It goes up to my outside recreation yard and allows us to get everybody out the back and onto a vehicle without necessarily having to have extra help from other facilities.
Questions for Ms. Duke? Thank you very much. Now, we'll look at the sheriff's budget amendments. Well, it's been pretty short so far. We'll do it after. Huh? Well, let's do the budget amendments, and then you can get set up, and we'll take a 5-minute one or something. Mm-hmm.
Well, as everybody knew we was going to, we've announced it several times. We've come back for some more money for the food for the inmates of the undesignated fund. Instead of it being $150,000 at this point, we'd like to request $130,000. We've also got an amendment presenting for sale of recycled materials that we've had for the year, and we'd like to, which totals $7,577, and we're requesting to put those funds into law enforcement equipment, $4,284, communication, $719, and then $2,574 to go into the inmate garden.
Okay.
That, we have a request which is coming from a reimbursement of overtime from the school board where the SROs go over and work all the games and things of that nature. And we've got an agreement worked out with the school system. So that totals $11,965 reimbursement. We'd like to break that down into $10,000 of overtime and related benefits. And those are the three amendments I've got for tonight.
What is the total in so far with this $130,000 for item 422?
It will be, let's see, 1530, 1.53 million. Let's see, the 1.2, we've had 150.
$1,530,000.
All right, let me back up. $1,480,000 total for the year.
And just to remind you, gentlemen, that we have worked with them last year at budget time, if you remember, on this. We kept it the same as a year before, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the second time you've come back, and we cut it the first time to say, hey, come back later. And April's getting pretty late in the year, okay? So if you have any questions for Mr. Russell or the sheriff, please go ahead. Otherwise, if you have a motion that you want to make in either direction. Don't everybody speak at once. Okay. All right.
Last year or last time? That would have been the February time frame.
February.
Yes, sir.
It is down 135 as of the past week. About a week ago, I called Senator Ketchern and the mayor and I did, and the state of Tennessee came in and took out approximately 135 at my request. But that's still, the numbers that we have right now is what it's going to take to get us through with what we got. That's why it's down to 130 instead of 160. If we still had the other 135 inmates, we'd have been right here asking you for about 160. We got to feed them. So, I'm doing everything on my part to keep the numbers as low as I can, but as soon as we get them out now, they'll be back.
And you saw in the request upcoming that for this next budget year, we're asking for 1.46, and we've calculated that, so, you know, we're roughly the same. And whatever we have left over, you'll get back in ending fund balance, so.
Reed, if you want to take over, I'll make the motion. Okay.
We're looking for a motion on this request. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Shanto.
Okay.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Zarino?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Other than that, we have our normal monthly report.
Well,
Did you want to go over that? I'll entertain any questions that you got.
I believe we had that one on the agenda also. Does anybody have any questions over there they'd like to ask Sheriff? Okay, on the report then. So, you want to get set up?
for the monthly report, we're just gonna skip it and go into budget, right?
Yep.
Because I emailed that to
You mean the report we got today?
the report you should have got last week. Okay.
But a request.
Yes, sir.
Which one?
You know, a lot of those, you give us like February, March, or March, well, you know, those two together. Why can't we do the present month, the last month, give us that, but maybe a combination of the 3 months before, you know, just tally them up.
You can do whatever combination.
Well, why I'm saying that is it seems to me that 1 month to the next doesn't really tell you what's happening and all. But if we had 3 months before and you're looking at it, you can see if the trend's going up or if it's going down. That's all. Okay? All right. Well, we'll take a 5-minute recess. You get situated. Welcome back to the April Public Safety Committee meeting, and we are now at the point where we're going to entertain Sheriff Arnold with his budget. He is going to present it to the county, his proposal.
Okay. So on first page here, of course, is the revenue for the year. We're estimating our revenue from all the different sources we've got, and they're listed there for your review, to total $4,223,426. Just wondering if there's any questions on that or any detail you'd prefer.
What was it this past year?
Roughly the same amount, yeah. It runs pretty consistent year after year. Last time we had a lot of the state inmates picked up, that number did dip down just a little bit, but it seems like before too long the population was right back up again anyway, so.
The reason I ask is I just thought, if I remember from the past, I thought the telephone, when we went to the new thing a couple of years ago,
Right.
or a year and a half, was going to pick up quite a bit.
Well, okay. So if you'll go to the big spreadsheet that folds out. This is the Sheriff's Office budget. Sheriff's Office and patrol and all the departments on the Sheriff's Office side budget, 54,110. In this budget, you've got the normal payroll increases. Those are what are grade on your paper, so those are built in. We don't control those. Do you want to just go over the notable increases, or you can read each one of them? There's so much to review.
As you can see with the highlighted in the gray area, as Joe referred to, our payroll line items, insurance benefits that we do not have any control over. That's roughly 76% of our budget are those line items. That is based off of whatever you all do currently, and then whatever the county does, whatever it's 1.5% if that's what y'all decide to do. So at that point, would you like to move down to the communication line item?
Let me just ask you, from item 101 to 212, those are basically what finance gives you or come up with?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's whatever the increase may be it 1.5% or whatever.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. I see county official, assistants, deputy. What is the one deputy?
Night watchman.
Detectives, captains, you have majors and chief deputy and deputy chief and so on. Where are they included?
Those are in the assistance category.
So the assistants are not, as was kind of indicated on some email correspondence this weekend, is not administrative staff.
No, that's broke down as administrative staff and or other deputies there.
So the assistants.
Command staff.
Okay, the assistants include your chief deputy, your deputy chief, your majors, any other
Yes, sir,
support
that's it.
type of personnel. So it's really, okay, thank you. I have one other question.
Yes, sir.
Last year, I said you're top-heavy. What's changed this year? What that would make me change my mind about that?
Commissioner, I think you know the span of control, and every organization has different needs. And with the sheriff's office, these are the needs, and this is what the commission has approved and seen the needs in the past. And so it's the span of control.
But when you have a major supervising a captain, supervising a lieutenant, there's no span of control there. I mean, that's just one person.
There is a major that's overseeing a captain who's overseeing about maybe 4 or 5 lieutenants, who's overseeing 7 to 10 sergeants, who's overseeing corporals.
I don't agree with you in all your sections. That's the reason I asked for an org chart, which we have yet to receive. A 3-year-old.
I can give it to you right now.
A 3-year-old org chart is not an org chart.
It's a 2-year-old org chart.
2-year-old org chart is not an org chart. I mean, any company or entity that I've worked for, they have an org chart that's current. It may be constantly being revised, but they have an org chart that's current.
I can give it to you right now.
I don't have anything else right now.
Well, let's go down then and start with 307 and go from there on with the increases and reasons and
So under 312, contracts with private agencies, the request came through for this year. They were wanting to increase the dry cleaning budget for all the sheriff's office uniforms. And then we have 50,000 in there for SOMS maintenance, which is our current operating software we're using at the sheriff's office. On the next line item is 317. There's a breakdown behind the pages that look like this. That's got so behind that is a software breakdown, and you'll have to look for it. And it's after page 5, 6. Okay, so after page 6, we'll go 3 pages beyond that. You'll have to turn your book sideways. There's under data processing services, there is an extensive list of all the software that we have submitted to us by our IS division.
what page is this?
It'll look like this. It's 2 pages beyond the breakdown. So that's a listing of all the software. They request an additional $133,000 for software packages this year.
Yeah. Several pages back. Oh, way on back. After page 6, okay.
The increase is not one big increase of any one package of software by itself. It's increases across the board on several different packages. There's also a couple of packages that they've not used before, or the first one we didn't have a renewal for year 1, like Real VNC, Samanage. We can have somebody come up if anybody any questions about the individual software, but it's all the different things that the different departments use to do their crime analysis and units for the cars and things of that nature.
Do what? Somewhat.
I know it's a long list to look at, so. We also have a slight increase of 25,000 on line item 334 under maintenance agreements. This, once again, is also a collection of increases across the board on all the different software packages we have, which would be the next page you've got after the list of software you just got done looking at.
Telling me that, look, the first part of that, the Verizon,
Yes, sir.
you had nothing last year with Verizon?
That would be on the, yeah,
Pole and
that's on the
school.
modems for the cars.
This is on,
The thing,
on your
we've
list.
always had since I took office, we've always had a thing with Verizon. All of our county cell phones are through Verizon. All of our patrol cars run off Verizon air cards, as you would say. But John Frost is here. He's over IT, and he can explain a lot of that. And Darlene Spence is here as well with IT.
Well, the way I'm looking at your list that you put down and why I'm asking is that last year you had the month and the year's cost for AT&T, okay, going down. And then I get over to Verizon, and all I see is that is that the same from last year, or is it going up, or 226,000 on that communications?
Which line item are you looking at?
Which line item are you
317?
looking at?
Huh?
317?
Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one for 317. I'm looking at your list, though, that you,
Okay.
way back there. Like I said, you got AT&T. Show it, and I guess, okay.
In the past, Verizon has been combined under one line item. This year, and actually some into this current year, what we did is separate Verizon. We separated data and paid data out of 317, which is data processing services, whereas the cellular side is being paid out of 307, which is straight communication, which is the same area that AT&T. So what you're seeing is the split. You'll see cellular under 307, and you'll see data under 317.
Okay.
I have a question. If you go to the 307 breakdown on back in there, I see about $30,000 in RT circuits that should have been disconnected that are no longer, shouldn't be in the budget for this year. That's all connected via microwave as far as the radio sites. Those voting receivers have been down for 2 years now. We shouldn't have been paying them, and we should not be budgeting for them in the coming year.
We have still been waiting on some confirmation back from AT&T, also across the board on some of these circuits, which I haven't gotten.
I don't know what other confirmation other than cancellation. I mean, these circuits are no longer in use.
I understand that, but if I'm not aware that they are no longer in use, then I can't cancel the service.
I don't understand that. Why they can't be canceled? I mean, there's $30,000 right there that have not been used since December of 14. And
Did anybody tell us?
Yes, we had to sit down on this, if you remember. Yeah.
We're not aware of it, or we wouldn't have put it in here.
Okay. Yeah, because this does not need to be, this $30,000 does not need to be in the coming year's budget, and it should have been taken care of a long time ago. I know that's a small amount in this budget, but it just...
Dollar counts.
Okay. I still don't like this.
Commissioner Gurley, were you saying from a specific line item or just from the budget itself?
In 307, if you go on back, Commissioner Turner, into the details back there, 307 communications on back there, you'll see some radio circuits, 80 RTPC type circuits going to Alisona Road. Those two circuits are in existence right now, but the ones going to Jones Boulevard, the ones going to Rock Springs in Smyrna, the ones going to Bell Buckle, especially those down there at the bottom, those 4 circuits that are budgeted at about 15, 20, 25,000. They're no longer in service, haven't been for quite some time, so they don't need to be budgeted for in the coming year. That was all replaced with microwave connectivity.
Thank you. I just wasn't sure where you were pulling that from, which line item.
It's just a portion of 307, but that's just, like I said, it's just a few $1,000s, but every few $1,000s there.
Commissioner, one thing, just sitting here thinking about, when it comes to all these different circuits, these microwaves and all that, would you be opposed to moving those out of our budget and moving those into EMA's budget?
They don't need to be, period.
Okay.
With the exception of the Alisona Road ones. All those other circuits should have been disconnected a year and a half ago.
Commissioner, the earliest we could plan a meeting, myself and John Buchanan from AT&T, was tomorrow at 3, so as quick as I could get to sit down with him and arrange, and we'll have it the meeting
I
tomorrow.
know things get lost, but this needs to be taken care of.
Yes, I agree.
I'm still interested in 317. It says OIT request C list. The list you showed me was the one for 307, right? Where is the one for 317? That, is that the one right behind it?
Right behind it. They should be in numerical order.
That comes out to 301. Hold on. Next one.
Russell, that unfunded mandate for mobile data management, did I miss, if you mentioned, forgive me, I didn't hear where that came from. Was that something that came from the state, federal, or sheriff, whoever? Second from the bottom, I think. Maintain CGIS compliance.
Mobile data management, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I saw it was an unfunded mandate, but I just
Yes,
didn't know
that
where it
comes
came
from
from.
CGIS 5.4.
Okay.
Federal
Federal,
requirement.
that is what it's a federal level mandate.
With all the hacking that's going on now, they're getting really particular about mobile devices.
Okay.
And they want the ability to encrypt them and wipe them remotely without having a user get a hold of them, basically.
Thank you.
More questions on 317?
Where was the dry cleaning line item last year?
Same line.
Same one.
Yeah, we haven't moved it.
Same one.
Contracts, under 312. Okay. If you'll move on down to 708, which is the next notable increase of $90,000, this is to purchase the Motorola tri-band radios, which we're trying to outfit every officer with, every patrol officer. This increase this increase should finish out the change out that they're doing on all the radios. I'll let you talk about that.
We have currently, over the past 2 years, used every bit of grant money that we could come up with and other funds. We've used drug money. We have funded approximately 58 of these radios. We're asking for $215,000 to buy 29 more radios, and that will finish out patrol. So we've been able to buy the bulk without asking for any funding. But with our radio infrastructure being what it is, where we're trying to go, we got 29 more radios to go, and that's why we're asking for this amount.
Which number is that?
708, sir.
So how many of you bought this year with grant money? Or the coming down, the funds that have come down? Because I know several times you brought up, and that's what you were purchasing was Motorola radios.
Captain Spence is on his way up. He's the one that's ordered them. So, like I said, we've paid for 58.
This year we bought 15 with the grant money. Last year we bought about 15 with the grant money we received. And that's what we've been dedicating all the grant money to, is to help buy the radios.
But some of the money that you've also used to buy them, some have come down through your special funds or whatever.
Yes, sir. And SCB's been buying their own radios out of their funds.
And it's drying up.
Yes, sir. And we used some regular line item money this year to put in to buy some extra ones. Just, this is the guys and girls' lifeline when they're out there by themselves.
We used approximately $57,000 out of last year's budget to buy these radios, and of course we've used drug fund money, we've used grants, we've used every fund we could find that could help us buy a radio whenever we could.
The next major increase is 709. This is for the RMS software. Basically, the almost entire request for that one line item is the software package itself. You should have been emailed a bid on that as well. Roughly $30,000 is just for additional cameras and licenses around the office there. However, the TriTech RMS software packages, the bid is $705,000. So that's a notable increase from last year's allotted money of $586,000.
Is that the TriTech or?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Y'all have approved the CAD system, and so they're working on that now, and
This is the
will
next
be the
step.
next step. Yes, sir.
This is the next step, and we just approved the CAD system. RMS is next. I believe us and the county were working together to apply for a grant, but we are unable to apply for the grant for the sheriff's office side. So I believe the county will be applying for the grant that we were going to apply for, but in another direction.
Keep going. Okay. So the next one.
Yes,
no-
step in if you have any questions at any time as he goes through it.
Next line is 716. It's law enforcement equipment. There is a notable increase of $178,000 for this upcoming year. I'll let Captain Spence talk about that.
We've got 12 ballistic vests that's going to expire this next budget year, and then 30 stab vests for detention, and then ammunition costs for the handguns, long rifle, shotguns, so forth. It's going to be $100,000, and then we're trying to purchase some new night vision for our tactical team, which 90% of their operations is nighttime, and we're going to pass their night vision down to patrol. So when we have missing persons or missing kids, they can help look for them at nighttime. It's a very valuable piece of equipment. And then we're asking for a speed trailer / message board put on the back roads to educate people on the speed, and also we can use it for messages to educate them how many people's killed on that roadway due to speed or due to impaired drivers.
The next notable increase after that is 718 motor vehicles. We're asking for an additional $250,000 for this upcoming year. The changeover to not the Expeditions, the Explorers is going very well, so they seem to be performing very well.
How many vehicles is that?
Approximately 40.
They're used for,
Patrol, detective division, all the different services we provide. You got to remember, most all of our vehicles are set up to run emergency traffic. A vehicle cost us, from purchasing the vehicle to complete setup, approximately $43,484 is what each vehicle cost us to fully outfit.
Sheriff, how much did you say that grant was that you thought the county was going to put in for? Just a few minutes ago, did I misunderstand?
Approximately $700,000? $500,000.
Commissioner, we looked into that grant, and it was a $500,000 grant. It was actually a $2 million grant. Only 4 will exist. Deputy the Mayor is looking at it to assist with funding to supplement one of Trey King's courts. It'll align better with their need, more so than it would with our qualifiers. So,
What's the deadline for county application, or is there one?
on that particular grant, that one will be May the 12th. There was another one that was June, I believe, the 6th. But,
Next 30 days, though.
Yeah, yes, sir. We couldn't qualify for those grants based on the numbers and based on information that we can't derive from the previous probation company.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is everything you've covered. What you covered for 54110, that's everything.
Almost everything. The big thing we have is I'm requesting in our 5-year plan. Last year we requested 10 new patrol deputies. We did not receive any. If you remember, I think you all recommended or the mayor's recommendation was 5. We're staying with our 5-year plan and requesting 20 deputies for this county. Also, if you see, Commissioner, I gave you the new patrol zones map that's up there. If you would, please pass that around. This map is a new patrol zones that we are looking at going to. Of course, it takes manpower. It goes from approximately 11 zones to 13, I believe it is. But it is all based off of population, and it divides up with population and also our call volume. This is where we, the county, we believe we need to be going. So we are now requesting that 20 officers for patrol. We're also requesting 2 officers for civil process due to, as you can see, the call volume and or service volume going up for those warrants. Criminal warrants is requesting 1 deputy for criminal warrants due to our warrants volume. I'm also requesting that we move 3 corporals up to the rank of sergeant. They currently have the rank of sergeant. We just aren't paying them their current rank that they are holding. We also have 1 lieutenant that has graduated from law school and has now become our attorney, which I would like to speak on that real quick, is I am very proud of what all we have done with the sheriff's office over the past 6 years when it comes to lawsuits. When I took office, we had over 43 lawsuits for the sheriff's office. We currently have about 6. So we're doing great with our lawsuits. But Sean Applegate has graduated law school, and we've moved him into that position, and he is now with some of the bigger lawsuits that we have going on right now. And I'm pretty sure we'll get into that when we get into the detention side. I believe that his position is invaluable to us when it comes to gathering the information and preparing those cases that we've never really had before. Yes, sir.
So you brought up lawsuits. So if the county recouped the $600,000 plus in wrongful termination cost that we paid out, then we wouldn't be asking for but $3 million, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's been no wrongful termination lawsuits?
Not for the sheriff's office, not that I know of. Sheriff's office is not involved in any wrongful termination lawsuits that I'm aware of.
do we have, with the list you just gave us, or read, do you have copies of that with associated equipment that is needed and cost with them?
That's built into the budget, I believe.
Those figures are all inclusive. That's a total cost of ownership per employee.
We also requested 5 part-time NCIC officers. That's putting information into NCIC. The state of Tennessee just got through, TBI just got through doing their audit, and they dinged us pretty hard on not getting information into the NCIC system and or putting some information that we probably shouldn't be putting into NCIC. But they are wanting this done, and when it comes to manpower, we just don't have the manpower to enter this information in the timely manner that they want it.
Where in the book here is this?
It's all inclusive. I've just got my own list of the breakdown that's already in the budget. You've got numbers, I've got my personal list. It's already built in.
If you look at your fold-out spreadsheet at the very bottom, you'll see a new position line item, new positions request, and there's a total there of everything that he's detailing.
And this is included in the increase, okay. So, you talk faster than I write, so how many?
Oh, I still got a couple more.
Okay, well, at the end, give us a total for the sheriff's office on it, okay?
The total for the sheriff's office is 40 personnel. Yeah, 35 and 5 position upgrades.
Talk with the mayor on the personnel?
Yes, he's been made aware. He's come over to the sheriff's office and got information from us. Like I said, just like I talked to you the other day, this is a living document. Some things have even changed today. And I'm pretty sure that, when we get through with y'all, the media's already requested this, and I told them, this is a living document. Whatever your decision is will be adjusted and then sent on to the next committee. And like I said, this is just a request. This is where these are the areas that we really need help in. What we are doing right now is barely keeping our head above water when it comes to keeping this county safe, patrolling the streets, entering in the information, serving the warrants, all the way around. And I think you can see that very well. We've illustrated that over the past few months with our monthly reports. And we hope to be even more detailed as we can with that, because I think you're going to see as this county grows, no matter who the sheriff is, who the commissioners are, they're going to have to deal with this growth. And it's service that we provide. When citizens call for us, they expect us to answer the call. And we're getting to the point we can't. I don't know if you know, some of you I've talked to about it, we've eliminated the ICE units, the interstate units. We did that 6 months ago. Those guys ended up going to the detective divisions, splitting up, going to NARCs. That's why you don't see any NARC positions or general detectives positions. Because of the need that was there, we just disbanded that unit and sent those guys to those positions. The next thing, the only thing I know to do is pull from criminal warrants. And patrol officers can try to serve warrants where they can. I had a traffic unit that I created with positions after I took office. I had 3 guys, I believe, that was on that. We were patrolling the neighborhoods as citizens were able to call in and talk about speeders or people blowing stop signs in their neighborhood. and we were able to concentrate in those areas, and citizens loved it. But the call volume has gotten so much that we had to disband that unit and go back to just patrolling zones. And those patrol deputies are spending the majority of their time answering calls. They're not patrolling. They're not being proactive. They're jumping from one call to the next call to the next call. If they see a violation, a DUI or something like that, yes, they stop and they deal with that violation, but that takes that deputy out of that zone. And you've heard me talk in the past about deputies having to go do backup from zone to zone. And we've had numerous nights in this county to where we've only had one unit available. And God forbid if something big breaks out at that time, because we don't have the manpower. And we've gone many nights where we don't have any units available. And if somebody calls, if your son, daughter, wife, mother-in-law, father-in-law call us, we're not coming until we get a deputy that's available to come for whatever need that they have. That's why we need help.
Last year's personnel that you received, was that in the Lawrence Division that they went to?
Last year we asked for patrol deputies, and we got 2 dispatchers. That's all we got out of the budget last year was 2 dispatchers and 2 part-time dispatchers. We did not get any patrol officers. We haven't had any patrol officers since the last lawsuit that was filed in roughly 2006, I believe. That was the last time we received any.
Have you implemented those positions, all those positions?
The 2 dispatchers? Yes, sir. We've implemented.
What about the part-time? Have they been implemented too?
Yes, sir. They've been implemented, but with part-time, be frank with you, we have a hard time keeping the part-time because they go find another job somewhere else. By the time we get them trained, they're right out the door, and then we're starting training over again. The dispatchers, we've had a very hard time keeping dispatchers prior to me coming to office and since I've been in office. We've always had an opening. The 2 that we had, or 2 that y'all gave us last year, we've hired them, and due to whatever reason people leave, we currently still have 1 position right now. And it's not a problem that just the sheriff's office has. It's a problem throughout law enforcement when it comes to dispatchers. Laverne City, the chief talked about it the other day at the 911 board meeting, that he went through 4 different interviews, 4 different hiring processes to hire 4 people. And he was interviewing multiple people each time. But to find the right people for those jobs, it's not just hiring anybody. You've got to have the temperament for the job. You know, a dispatcher comes in, they answer a call, and as soon as they hang up from that call, they're answering another call. And the last call that they could have had could have been some mother calling and screaming because their baby has drowned, or they found their loved one deceased, and that dispatcher takes that call and goes through all those emotions. And as a patrol officer, when you go to that call, you get to go to that call, and then you have some downtime. You can go park somewhere and just breathe for a minute. As a dispatcher, they're never allowed to. And that's kind of some of the strains, and I believe you've seen our dispatch center. That's some of the strains that we have is holding on to dispatchers is because of the stress of that job and then the salary of that job.
I can totally understand that, but I'm sitting here looking at these figures, and you have your job to do, and I have my job to do too. But when I'm looking at a total figure here of over $5 million, that's a 25% increase in your budget. And when I look at that, I see a Sears and Roebuck Christmas wish book somewhat more than anything, because there's a lot of things involved there and a whole lot of things requested. Today I was with a group of senior citizens, and I have this habit of bringing up what I do with who I'm with. And I just asked them, I said, you know, we're going to be facing this budget, well, I want your opinion or whatever. They told me that when they got their letter from the U.S. government on their Social Security, they didn't get a cost of living increase. And they're going to have to deal with that. And when we're talking about this amount of money right here, I was just sitting here just a few minutes ago, and I'm just playing, this is not anything guaranteed, But if we approve that whole thing, we're talking about maybe 8 cents added to the, to what we've got to do here as far as taxes are concerned, just for this part right here, not counting everything else we got to do. So that's a lot of money. And I totally understand the situation you've got right there. But, you know, I was not too many weeks ago, I was right down here in this lobby with Youth Leadership Rutherford. And I was talking to them, and I said, you know, my job is to take that little penny right there and squeeze Abraham Lincoln as hard as I can. And that's what we've got to do right here. And, you know, I wish I could give you everything you wanted right there. But it's just like I told my kids at Christmas time, you're not going to get it all. And that's what I'm having to look at.
And we're realistic. I know we're not going to receive everything. And this isn't everything that the department, that the majors requested. I've cut it back quite a bit. As this county grows, we are going to have to keep up with it. We, the sheriff's office, the public expects us, when they call us, to respond. And as us as elected officials, we're the leaders of the community, and people expect us to lead and make the hard decisions. And unfortunately, there are some things that we just can't help. We know we're growing, and as the call volume grows, I think we're seeing, just in 911 calls, we're seeing about 1,500 more each year. You know, as you've seen our jail grow. I wish I had the exact numbers right in front of us of our call volume, but we try to give you that in the monthly numbers. So I have no other choice than to ask, whether it be me or if it's somebody else sitting here, they would be asking you for this. You know just well that last year in your district, the pantry, the food pantry was broke into. We didn't have any deputy in that zone when that happened. We still don't. So, you know, at times we do and at times we don't. We've got to properly staff for the county. And that's one thing I'll get into when we talk about the jail. But, you know, when we build things, a lot of things we properly staff. One thing that we, in my opinion, in the county has been lacking is in our criminal justice system all the way around. Y'all did a huge step and a great thing the other night with the judgeship. But we need help on the sheriff's office side. We have not seen, other than SROs, we've not seen really anything since roughly 2006. Before that was 99, manpower-wise. We need help.
I would like to make a comment there. For one time, I agree with the sheriff. Dispatchers are hard to keep. It's a stressful job, and there's a high turnover rate. So that is something that, you know, we need to stay on. I also agree we need more people on the road. I mean, we need some more patrol deputies out there. Patrol deputy, they're the forefront. They're the person that interacts with the citizenry. The hierarchy doesn't interact on a day-to-day basis. The patrol deputy, when they're going through, if they're really doing their job and they see somebody, they'll stop and they'll say hello. Also, you know, that's a way to gather information and intelligence. Years gone by, I knew a detective. He used to go to a certain place and throw his fishing rod in. You know, he got the question to why he did that. Well, other people came up and he gathered a lot of information being out there for 30 or 40 minutes at this particular location about what was going on in the county. So, you know, you have to look at all approaches. Some of them have to be novel. I think we've got a limited amount of money, and I still don't back off of what I said. I think you've got too many people supervising only one individual when they need to be spread out a bit more. You know, put them out there on the road sometimes. And it's something that we're going to have to talk about a lot, but, you know, ultimately, I think we are going to have to come up with some additional manpower out there. But we've also got to make the best use of what we have. You've got to make the best use of what you have. And that is what I want to see happen. It's an expensive proposition, and there's no way that we're going to be able to fund the number of personnel that you're asking for. But I'm open to talking about part of it.
40, go ahead.
You asked for 10 positions last year and got 5.
We asked for 10 positions last year in last year's budget, staying with our 5-year plan. And I believe y'all recommended on over to Budget and Finance, or no, the mayor recommended 5. And it failed by 1 vote in Budget and Finance for the 5. And so the budget that went on to full commission only had 2 dispatchers and 2 part-time positions in it.
Nobody on patrol.
Nobody for patrol.
I've got one more question. Maybe I've got too many questions tonight. But if we approve 10 patrol deputies, are those going to be hired first into detention? I've heard the statement that we are going to hire into detention. Everybody has to go through detention.
Not everybody. We prefer, since I took office, I've preferred to try to hire people from detention. But we have hired, just like this last go around, we hired two from the outside, 3 from inside.
Yeah, because I know at the state level, having worked there for several years, you know, the job spec for a state trooper or a TBI agent is not the same as the job spec for a prison guard.
No.
And so when you hire somebody for detention, you're not necessarily getting someone who has the aptitude to move onto the road and be a good patrol deputy. There are 2 different aptitudes and so on. So,
yes, sir. And the majority of the people that apply for detention are wanting to go to patrol. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to go. We try to give them the opportunity to progress in their career, but we
nothing
hire
against
outside.
progression, but like I said, everybody, you know, having the thing that everybody has to go through detention, I just don't quite get it.
No, we do not do that.
Okay.
These 40 new people you're asking for, what is the cost of those 40 fully operational? And are they getting part of the vehicles that are for $1,250,000?
The figure that's at the bottom of the sheet that says $3,671,522 includes personnel and the vehicles, training, the whole 9 yards.
The bottom of which page? This one?
The large fold out. The large fold out.
This one?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us the cost of putting 1 patrol deputy on the road?
Yes, that's.
So that would give us an idea?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
90,400.
No. It's 133,976.
Roughly?
133,976.
133? 133,000?
Yes, sir.
That's for the first year. That's all equipment, everything.
Yes, sir. That's vehicle, uniform,
everything on the road, right?
Yes, sir.
So 10 times that would be. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But out of the 1.25 for vehicles, that's also replacing the vehicles we currently have. If you remember, several years ago, y'all gave us 13 SROs. We didn't get any vehicles. We're trying to play catch up with all of these vehicles over the year. We used to get $1.5 million each year for vehicles, and that's been cut back to $1 million for the past few years, and we're trying to catch up on a lot of these vehicles. We've got to play catch up at some time with these vehicles.
A while ago, you had 40, you're asking for 40 positions,
30
5 of them were upgrades?
35 new positions on the sheriff's office side and 5 upgrades. You know, the upgrades, one of the corporal to sergeant, it's $1,600 a year. Another one, you know, $2,100 a year. So those are the upgrades. They're not as much as any of the other positions, the new positions.
35 vehicles for your 35 positions.
No, you need 20, because the dispatchers and the part-time NCIC officers would not get vehicles. 24 new vehicles.
Are you actually asking for patrol?
20 new deputies for patrol. You have 2 civil officers and 1 warrants officer, criminal warrants officer as well. Oh, there is the one other position down here at the bottom. I never got down to it. As I'm also asking for 1 new major over the courthouse security over judicial services. That was the last one down there.
What does a criminal warrant officer and a civil warrants officer cost? Same amount?
Same amount as a patrol officer.
Okay.
Same pay grade, same everything.
That's basically 12.
And they come with a car and the same training.
Right now we have 28,000, approximately 28,000 unserved warrants. Those are people that we have.
No, look, we get reports. You've made that pretty clear to us.
Well, that's why you see trying to add other officers into that.
I'm sorry, what was the per vehicle cost? You said 40 vehicles.
Approximately 43,000. Yeah, $43,484.84 is what I've got.
Right around 43.5 then.
Yes, sir.
All right. The CAD system, it should be operational by December, right?
Better be.
That's good? Is that good? Uh-huh.
Better be.
That's the best projected scenario, yes.
Okay. Well, here's my deal. You know, that's been coming for a while. And we found ways now to pay for it. And we can, I think the next part of the system coming through, you know, I don't see why we can't wait until after this is operational and up and running, which would cut basically $550,000 out of 709. And, you know, it's something, I think it's like the other one. We know it's coming. We know it's going to. We don't, what I'm saying is that can put it off.
Let me ask you,
Or
does that
other
mean
way.
you'll support, if that's after we get this, if we come and ask for it out of undesignated, once we approve this, you'll support
Development
that?
tax, we got options for that we can use it for. We don't know what's coming there. We can look and see what we have and get started on it, I think, at least. But I don't think, well, I think the most of us up here right now is some people out there is what you need. That's what our opinion is, probably more.
That's my
than-
number one priority this year's
Yeah,
budget is
okay.
people, second is
Well-
the CAD. They're both really the same priority, but if I had to put it in order, people, then CAD. Because if we get this back, I can tell you I'll come back, that I'll be back in December, January, proving that our CAD system is working, and I'll be asking for it out of undesignated.
You get it working, you better have everything working that quick after it's in,
Well,
right?
with the CAD system, it should be, and that's why I want to know if I've got y'all's support to come back and ask for it out of undesignated at that time.
I'd like to see us look at adding 6 patrol deputies, 2 warrants deputies, and 2 NCIC, TCIC people. which would be a total of 10, and I know what the cost would be. You gave me the cost for the, and
Can you say that again so I can write it down?
6 patrol, 2 warrants, and 2 NCIC people, TCIC, whatever you want to call it.
Are you saying 2 criminal warrants or civil warrants? Or you don't care, just split it
call them
up?
warrants,
Just call
and
them.
leave that to your discretion.
Okay.
You know, I think they can do probably either, be the case may be. You can shift personnel, that's called management, so we'll leave that to you. We won't micromanage.
And then how many dispatch? 2?
Do what? Well, I think right now you're having a hard time keeping what you've got.
But,
In terms of dispatch, yeah, the NCIC
yes,
type people to do those data entries.
the
Yeah.
part-time, yes, sir.
Right.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to see us look at as reasonable right now.
Mr. Gurley, could you repeat that? I couldn't hear what he was suggesting.
6 patrol officers, that's 133,000 per person. 2 warrants officers, that's once again 133,000, because those are sworn officers that are going to have to be fully equipped. And then our NCIC data entry type people that will kind of take some of the burden off of some of the other stuff, people. That's thrown out there for thought, as a point of discussion.
What you're saying, but I think we need to look at a package also. Some places where I think we can get some reduction too, with one thing I just mentioned. And I would like to put something in front of them, form a motion, and I'd ask Mr. Reed, Commissioner Reed again, if he could take over as chairman for a moment.
Okay. Let's hear your motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, let's start with item 708, which is the Motorola tri-bands. I would cut that from 215 to 100,000, which is going to give you a little more than half of what you want. Those are important. The next is 709, cut 550,000 out of it because that's the next step that's coming in. Okay, 716, law enforcement equipment. It's got a 2,000 increase. I'd like to cut that increase in half, so drop 100,000. And then 40,000 from gasoline. That adds up to 790,000. And then I'd like to see 10 patrol, because I think that gives you more capabilities than, and it gives the relief, et cetera, coming in. And then 2 warrants, I was going 1 each way, but to me, y'all can, that's up to y'all, really. And then 1 NCIC, so that's 13 new people. And I put that in a form of a motion. If
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to that motion? Do I have a second? We have a second here. Any discussion?
Does anybody need anything repeated?
Mr. Schaefer, if you would look at line item 709, you said cut that back to some number, but the actual cost of the next portion of this software series is 705,000. So that's not 586, it's 705,000. There's a total included in the 736.
All right. Well, then that's what I want to cut out. 705,000 instead of 550. Off of 709, yeah. And
You're correcting that amount?
yeah, and I need this drop into the actual cost of it. I didn't think it was that much. Okay, so whoever had the second would have to agree with that. You do. You had
Yes, I second that.
Okay. All I don't know.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, before we vote on this, I got a question for the sheriff. Had you rather not have all patrol officers, since you're in such dire need of extra patrol, rather than these other positions that they put in with this? Had you rather not have, how many positions did you recommend?
13 all total.
Rather not have 13 patrol officers?
Oh, no, only 10 patrol. 3 were warrants and NCIC.
Would you rather not have all patrol?
I need all patrol, and that's probably something I would shift around or look at. That's something we would go back and look at and try to figure out what we need. Like I say, I will not want to give the person the mouth, tell me a direction. You know, I work with the commission.
If we give you 10 positions, are you gonna make 10 patrol officers out of them, or use them somewhere else?
No, if you give me 10 patrol positions and that's what you say, that's what I'm going to do with them. Like I said, I'm here to work with you, not against you. So I've asked for 20. That's really what we need, because next year I'm going to add 5 more to it. You know, each year we're going to be moving up. It's not going to be going down till we get to where we're at. So this year, if you give me 10 patrol deputies, I'm going to put 10 patrol deputies on the road. If you know, we need civil officers, we need criminal officers. You know, I'm going to put that we've asked for that, and that's kind of the direction y'all want me to go. Like I said, I'm here to work with you, not against you.
Any further discussion?
Could you have Ms. Shelton read that motion back, please?
Motion is cut line item 708 from 215,000 to 100,000. Line item 709 cut 705,000 for the next step. And line item 716 cut that increase to 100,000. And line 425 gasoline cut it 40,000 with 10 patrol, 2 warrants, and 1 NCIC.
Okay, we've read the motion back. Are you ready for the vote? Call the roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? No. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
No.
Commissioner Reed?
No. Three.
Yeah, I would like to go back and make a motion for what I originally proposed of 6 patrol officers, 2 warrants officers, and 2 NCIC personnel, with the same cuts in the budget that Commissioner Schaefer recommended.
Back to the chairman.
Okay. We have a motion. Do you want to read the numbers again?
6 patrol officers, 2 warrants officers, 2 NCIC data entry positions.
Okay.
Do I need to read the cuts also?
No. Okay. So we have a motion. You heard the motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, these, maybe you guys have a different sheet. Are these NCIC input people? What I have is a request for 5 NCIC officers just upgrading their rank. Am I missing something here? Maybe I am.
Those are part-time positions. It's still going to be a rank of 13.
So those are just 5 part-time positions.
They're
It's
5
not-
part-time positions.
Not a
yes, sir.
single full-time person there.
Right. Part-time NCIC.
So are these include in the motion for 2 part-time NCIC people, not full-time. I just wanted clarification on that.
Sheldon, what was that $100,000 removal from which line item? 716. Thank you.
And also line 708 is cut from 215,000 to 100,000.
709 was removed 705,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And line 716 was to cut the increase to 100,000 and cut 40,000 from gas.
Let me ask, did we have anything that was presented for detention?
We've got 3 more budgets to go through, sir.
Okay.
Any discussion? Oh, we don't have a second, do we?
Actually, I take that back. We got one more. We don't do the drug fund right now. We do that when we get to budget. So I apologize.
All right. So we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. Motion fails for lack of a second. Okay. Does anyone have any further thoughts? Or do we want to pass it on with no recommendation?
Take the cuts that you recommended and cut it back to 10 patrol officers only. That's what he says he needs. That's what all the men say they need. They need help on the street. 10 patrol, and that's all. Leave the rest of the positions off that they were talking about.
Have a motion? You heard it. Do we have a second? We have a second. Further discussion?
Includes the cuts from Commissioner Schaefer,
With 10 patrol
10
officers.
patrol officers, right.
Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gurley.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy. Commissioner Reed.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
4 to 2.
4 to 2. Passed.
One more question to ask you about the raising the ranks, the pay ranks for the gentleman. Was that there, or is that still something?
Deputies.
Okay, so just 10 deputies. Okay.
That's, to me, that's something you can discuss with human resource peoples wherever that they need them or whatever, and it can be put back in the budget if they agree, or they can make that recommendation. I think that's, we don't know what the qualifications of each one of those jobs are, is what I'm getting at.
That'll work. As long as y'all don't mind me talking to the other committees about it.
Okay. Okay. So, the next foldout has got to be the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center, just for Mr. Reed, I guess. It's up next.
Okay, under the Adult Detention Center budget for,
Just a second.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, Deputy Reed. Does the same way we did it for the Sheriff's Department work for this? For the adult detention? Okay. All right, you can proceed.
okay, so for notable increases, if you'll go down to line number 399, you'll see a notable increase of $290,000. That is for Dr. Rudd's contract. That's an extension. His initial contract was for 3 years with 2 one-year extensions. He's agreed to a second extension. Next year, we're going to have to bid this out. That's one of the notable increases. The next one down to food supplies, as we just had an amendment earlier that I alluded to. We're asking for an increase of $266,753. There's a breakdown on that, which roughly calculates out to $1.41 a meal times 3 meals a day, 365 days in a year, 950 inmates per day on average. That total equals the 1,466.
915, is that what you said?
950. 950. Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, let me back up one. I just want to get y'all's sense. Line item 421, so backing up one line item, food preparation and supplies. When we built the current kitchen, we designed the kitchen to have a small dishwasher in it, and we decided to go with styrofoam instead of trays, and we got rid of the trays. And I know that there's been some talk in the past about possibly going back to trays. And I just kind of wanted to get y'all's sense of what direction, if y'all were wanting us to change direction or stay on the same direction, the same path that we're currently on. Because if we were to go in a new direction, one, we would have to order trays, carts, and a new dishwasher. So I just wanted to get y'all's feedback on the direction. If you wanted us to stay the course on what we all as the Sheriff's Office and the Commission decided several years ago, or do you want to change directions?
Is there any known cost savings in changing direction? I mean, what's the styrofoam?
The styrofoam one is lighter. When the officers have to push it up, we don't have as many injuries. We don't have injuries anymore when it comes to pushing those carts anymore, which was costing the county and workers' comp type issues. Plus, the food actually stays warmer in the styrofoam versus the trays that we used to have. The one drawback is environmental. That the styrofoam, we are throwing a ton of styrofoam away because right now, currently, we don't have a way to recycle it or anything like that. With if we had to upgrade our dishwasher and go to the other trays, at least we could wash those trays. We would have to figure out a way to store them. We currently did not set our system up to store those trays. So I just want to get a real quick feedback. I know that it's been talked about a couple of times, and what direction y'all, if y'all wanted to change directions or stay the course on what we decided years ago.
Has there been any conversation with Mr. Nolan or anyone related to recycling or implementing programs there? I know they're trying to do it with the schools, but has there been any talk with?
We've talked about it, and at the time we were going the same path as what the schools was doing. I know that there are some schools that have gone back to washing trays. So it's kind of both ways.
There isn't a market for the styrofoam for recycling.
No,
But
sir.
the other thing about the plastic trays and all, you brought up one other time, they're weapons.
They're weapons
Very
in the
easily.
jail.
They can break them and have something pretty sharp and firm, so.
I've been told by several inmates they don't feel good upside your head.
Yeah. At one time, we were looking at biodegradable.
A biodegradable styrofoam tray is a significant cost. We can go in that direction, but we did not budget for that in here, but it's a significant cost.
But biodegradable, once it goes into the landfill, it doesn't go away, does it? Once it's
Well,
buried?
Everything I know about biodegradable, it will eventually go away.
Eventually in several years, but once
Yeah.
it's buried with everything else, it doesn't, because it takes light and
Take light, air,
air
and all that.
to make it go away.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
So we didn't give you an answer, did you? We could take a vote on it, what it is, if you want. You know,
If
the
y'all just
people's
want to stay the
opinion.
course, I mean, yeah, if you want to.
Want to do that? Well, all in favor of staying the way we are versus going to plastic, say aye.
Aye.
I think that for now at least. Hey, maybe here, we may get something up here on Florence Road or something sometime that we can do something with it and at least get it going. And, you know, that could help. All right, can I ask you again? 422, why'd you pick 950? Or did I mishear you? Hopefully I misheard you and you really were meaning 880 or 890 or something like that, right?
Well, that's been the average for the year.
Well, at 958 is our capacity. You know, if you remember last year, we got up to 1,100. So we're saying 950. Just right now, we're below that. I believe we were right at 800 this morning, 811. We know our numbers are going to go back up. We've got several things in the works of doing some roundups, warrant roundup and stuff. So we know in the next year our numbers are going to go back up. What I've tried to do over the past couple of years, if you remember back in 2012, I called the state then and asked for their help, and they relieved us of approximately 200 inmates at that time. But our numbers have jumped right back up. So in 2 years from now, we'll be right back up to 1,100 plus inmates. I suspect by this time next year, we'll be sitting at 950 plus. So that's why I just wanted to go with that budget number.
But you know, I know once you get it, you got it, right? That's what's, because we do have, the committees that are working on looking to find some solutions. Are they maybe getting somewhere near where we can have some alternatives?
Yes, I hope with our criminal justice committee, we will see some changes over the next year. But right now, you know, based off of our history, I just wanted to continue on and go with this number. And naturally, if we go over it and we have more inmates than this, then I'm going to be back and asking you for more food money.
We can proceed.
Okay. If you drop down to 707, which is building improvements, we have several projects over there at the jail we'd like to do, but this increase here of 300,000 was to pave our parking lot. You want to talk about that?
All right, paving the parking lot. And I think I emailed this to y'all before. This was last year's quote. The entire sheriff's office, if you, and I'm going to pass this up here to you here in just a second. From the road all the way around the sheriff's office, the entire parking lot needs to be repaved. Some of it has not been, some of it's the original asphalt that was put down in 1986, 87. Of course, we've had several construction projects and had to cut up the driveway and the parking lot. It is in desperate need of resurfacing. I know since I've been at the sheriff's office since '99, we've resurfaced it. When I say that, where they come in and they paint it or whatever. Seal. We've resealed it twice, but it is coming apart. And I think most of y'all have drove through it and you've seen it. So last year we bid it out, or we put out a proposal. I had the road superintendent help us out with it. The county uses Hoover. Hoover came back with, this was last year's numbers, $274,300. And they explain everything about what they're going to do. I think the mayor has seen this several times. I believe it's an average 1.5 inch thick asphalt. A lot of digging up. They're going to have to dig up a lot of the parking lot. As you know, when you come in, it's caved in. So they have to dig that up, patch it, before they asphalt it. So I'll pass this around to you.
Does Hoover have a guarantee on how long it will last before it needs major repairs or something?
That may be on the bid. I don't know about it. I'd say the county's got its money's worth out of most of it. It's been there since 1986, so hopefully we won't have to do this again for another 20-plus years. Unless we have lights that go out, because that's one reason why we've had to dig it up in the past year, is a lot of when they paved it and they put in the lights before, they really didn't use outside grade wiring. They really used house conduit, and of course over the years that has collapsed and or filled with water and fried all the systems that go through the outside, so we had to dig it up to replace it so we get our outside lights working.
If you'll also note line 452, which is our utilities, this current budget year, we've done pretty good on those. We've amended some of those funds out. So we've reduced our request by $91,000 for this upcoming year to just even $700,000. The next notable increase beyond that is the jail management software, which is going to be leg 3 of the TriTech system that we were talking about earlier. Well, it'd be, wow, I'm going blind. 709.
Mr. Chairman.
Be 709.
So you're going to need this number maybe again. It's $518,000 of that $621,000 is for the third leg of the jail management software. That's that particular component.
On the two items, the jail item there and the other one, do they need, they're in coordination with each other too, but does one have to be done before the other?
The way the data flows, we started off correctly with CAD, because that's where the call comes in, like the chief said before. Then it goes into a report. That's the records management. And then once the report and the rest is made, then it goes to the jail management. So ideally, you would go records first, then jail. And more than likely, I've got my work cut out for me for a while anyway.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
The last notable increase is personnel. As you know, in the past, I've emailed it to you, I've hand-delivered it to the commission. We've done 3 staffing analysis for the jail. We first started off roughly about 2012, I believe is when now Captain Deal did the staffing analysis. His staffing analysis came back with 43.5 positions that we needed to properly staff the jail in its current form. At that time, the commission asked us to look at getting someone else to look at that. So we ended up getting with CTAS, and I had it just laying on my desk. March 26th of 2012, CTAS, County Technical Assistance Services, Jim Hart, who is an expert with CTAS, wrote a jail staffing analysis. Ironically, he came back with 43.5 positions. And then I believe it was 2013, after I went to NIC, National Institute of Corrections, for new sheriff school. They came in, we were talking about classification. But due to our staffing analysis, our staffing at that time, or not staffing, our inmate population at that time, I was looking at doing away with our classification system. Because of the way our inmates were, they asked if they could come in and help us look at that classification system, but also our staffing. And so the Department of Justice came in through NIC, and they did a staffing analysis, and that was given to the commission at the time. put into the record, and it came back with, ironically, 43.5. Due to recent events beyond our control, in the past year, we've had one inmate who was beat up in his jail cell and is now in an incapacitated state. We've had 2 suicides, and then we've had one inmate who fell twice. That one was on video, and one of the hangings was on video. With those potential lawsuits that we have going, these are some things that we have going against us. Whenever you all build a school, I told you I was going to say this again, whenever you build a school, you properly staff that school. You give it all the teachers, all the counselors that it needs. When this jail was built in roughly 1998, it was never properly staffed. So we're asking to properly staff the jail.
May I interrupt? Mr. Sheriff, please, I want you to say everything you need to say to make your point, but don't say things that are going to be used likely in these court situations. So if you could just try to think carefully as you describe the needs, please.
We have the need for the staffing. We can show that. And so I'm requesting 42 officers, detention deputies, and 1 corporal is what I'm requesting. Yes, sir.
Can you once again give us the cost of 1 detention officer? To bring them fully on board, equipment, officer, et cetera?
1 second. $64,500 roughly. That's insurance, benefits, equipment, correct, training.
Everything to put the officer.
Everything. When you give us a new position, this is everything it takes to get it in there.
One of the things I think we need to keep in mind, and I would like to see some increase in jail staffing, but we are in the process as a county of doing several things to try to reduce jail population. That is pretrial diversion. That was one of the reasons, justifications for the 4th judgeship, other programs to minimize the burden on the jail. We know, though, as population grows, so is the jail population eventually. Even if we do decrease, at some point in time, it's going to grow back. So what I would like to see is us not overstaff in anticipation of some of these other things kicking in within the next 12 months or so. It's kind of the line of my way of thinking right now.
Commissioner, that wouldn't be overstaffing. That would be manning the other tower. And I think you know how our layout is. Whenever we designed this facility, it was designed for direct supervision. We are currently doing indirect supervision, and we're not staffing 1 tower. If you know, TCI has also sent us information each year telling us that we need to staff that other tower. And I've got a diagram if you need it. All of y'all have been out there numerous times, and we greatly appreciate that. But that's what this is. Whether we have, 1 inmate, or if we have 1,000 inmates, this is getting us to the proper staffing and staffing that other tower, and the needs of doing that 24/7. So even with a reduction, these are positions that whenever we design the facility, they needed to be staffed.
Just exactly how many will it take to staff that tower?
Well, you have the, each level has 2 towers, AB tower and the CD tower. Currently, we are monitoring all inmates from the AB tower, and we have 1 rover. So for roughly 200 inmates, you have 2 people. You have a tower operator who is watching over 200 people, and you have 1 rover who is going and getting the trays, getting whatever, jumpsuits, this and that. He's constantly, we call him the rover. He's running around and doing all the work trying to keep up with those 200 inmates. The way that it was originally designed is to have 1 tower operator on the AB side, 1 rover on the AB side, 1 tower operator, and I don't think this really has all the rovers. It does. So it would have 1 rover on the CD side and 1 tower operator constantly watching over those inmates. Again, let me just tell you, I'm here to work with you, not against you. I'm just telling you our needs.
And your request was for 43? Or did I misunderstand you? Or that's what the number that Captain Deal,
Yes, it's 42 deputies and 1 corporal position.
deputies and 1 corporal?
Cost of 54.5 each.
64.5, right?
We currently have 1 deputy who is doing our classification, or no, we currently have 1 deputy that we're wanting to move up to corporal, and we'll take that deputy and move in. That will still give us 43 deputies if you approve that. One thing I'd also like to mention for everybody out in our TV land, 51% of the jail's budget is salaries. 8% is operating costs, 8% is food, 25% is medical, 4% is technology, and then 4% is utilities. And that's how it's broke down. The majority of our budget is personnel.
Just to get some conversation moving on this, I would like to make a motion that we remove the JMS software. I believe that's $618,000. $518,000. That we remove that from the data processing line item until we get the CAD system up and running. Come back and revisit that along with the RMS software after that. Let me start the motion over again. We remove the $518,000 from the data processing equipment, and we fund 20 additional deputies for the jail at a cost of $1,290,000. If the number you gave me of 64.5 is right, 20 would be $1,290,000 at this time. So move.
Have a motion to remove $518,000 from the data processing line item 709. We have a second. Motion fails for lack of second. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to try to go in a different direction and see what we can do here too, but I'd also suggest we remove the data processing as has been mentioned before, and I'm suggesting 12 officers as my motion.
Motion to add 12 detention officers and remove $518,000 from item 709. It's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Have a second. Okay. Discussion? No. I'm not going to make the motion, but I would love someone to make an amendment on item 422. They live of cutting it 100,000 or something, because we can always give that back later. And if what we put out is going to happen and we reduce the population, I'm just feel that if it's not in the budget to begin with, we're better off than not having it there than to have it there and it be floating if it's not needed or used for something else.
I'll make a motion to remove $100,000 from 422.
Amendment, a motion for an amendment to the original motion. Do we have a second? And a second. Okay. Further discussion on the amendment? Just the amendment. Okay. We'll vote on the amendment.
The amendment is to cut line 422, $100,000. Commissioner Gurley. Commissioner Piercy.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Commissioner Serrano.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner.
No.
Commissioner Taylor.
Yes.
5-1.
Okay. Amendment passes. The original motion. Any further discussion on it? Do you want to read it just one more time?
The original motion is to remove $518,000 from line 709 and approve 12 detention officers.
Yes.
Vote on this. How many detention officers do you have now?
Right at 105.
Patrol officers do you have now?
Roughly, I want to say about 73, 76. 76. One thing to remember is with these potential lawsuits coming, it would have been a whole lot cheaper to fund these deputies than it, and we would be in a better spot defending this stuff if we had properly staffed this facility. The biggest liability that we all have as a county, as a citizen of this county, the biggest liability we have in this county is the county jail. So please remember that when you're thinking about this. I know that we're talking about taxpayers' dollars, but also when we get into these lawsuits and having to defend this, when we've got these staffing analysis, please think about that when you're voting.
Motion is to remove $518,000 from line item 709 and add 12 detention officers. Call a roll, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Serena?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
No.
Yes. Motion passes.
I told the family this afternoon that I would at least lay this project. I've had a couple of guys talking at Hardee's, and then the family called me this afternoon after we'd already done the budget. So I made a note, and just kind of, again, wanting to sense y'all's direction. If you remember with Inmate Brothers, the one that just happened, he fell twice in his jail cell. And luckily we have that on video. The family, it's been suggested by several people in the community, but also the family, ironically, talked to them today about putting cameras in each of the jail cells to help prevent the liability on lawsuits. Now, roughly, John Frost here, he gave me a rough number. I mean, literally, this was about 30 minutes before we came up here, and I just asked, I said, how much do you think it would cost to go in this direction? And he roughly believes it's about $1 million. But if you think about it with this one incident, preventing the lawsuit that could come from that particular incident, because we have it on video, it would well pay for itself. Now, I know that we couldn't do it all at one time or anything like that, but we could phase it in. And I told the family that I would ask, and I've told other people, kind of thinking about it before, but when the family called, I said, hey, I'll bring it up. Is that a direction that y'all would like to see us go? Now, it's not in our budget. Like I said, it was right before I came up here. But if you think about if there was a way to phase this in over time with our fights, the rapes that occur in the jail, the different things, if we've got it on video, it's going to help prevent that stuff, and it would help prevent a lot of lawsuits because it would be on video. So I wanted to bring that up and just see what y'all's thought on it was and the direction y'all wanted to see me go with that.
My first indication is it's definitely worth looking at, see what the cost is, but also how preventable is it to keep an inmate from messing up the camera or whatever that's in there.
Well, and that's exactly what we talked about right before, because we just replaced one in Booking. I'll let Chief's got something to say.
Commissioner, just a quick explanation. We put a wide-angle lens in there that actually would prevent, to see what you need to see in a cell normally to get perspective that you'd almost need 2 cameras looking from opposite directions to cover the entire cell. This particular wide-angle camera that we've looked at, we have deployed one. You get a 98% coverage with 1 camera. It's ruggedized. You probably couldn't tear it up with a ball bat. It's that strong. It's very, and it is, exactly, it's a tamper-proof type camera, so very good piece of equipment. But basically the numbers that Captain Frost came up with are based on that type of camera being put in.
So you're kind of doing a little pilot project, and then you can come back and let us know here in a few months how...
Yes, sir. We've looked at it. We put it in, that particular unit went in about 3 months ago, and we've looked at it. It also works well in low light. Should we lose power, should we lose lighting, it actually has illumination built into this low-lux camera.
Right.
So it actually lights up. You can see everything in the cell even with the lights off. It's very clear.
Currently, we have 6 male cells that have cameras in them in our medical pod, but only 6 out of roughly 24 cells, and then 28 of the female cells medical pod has cameras in it.
Okay. How about this? I don't know what the date is. We may even have to change it next month because of Memorial Day, or but why don't you come back with us with a full detail on it next month, because there's still time to put it in this budget. You know, if it works out, we can, you know, approve it to send it on to the budget committee after that, if the committee here so desires, you know. But this way, we're not making a snap decision on it. We're getting, we're going to get the full, you know, like y'all explained that CAD system. Helped me immeasurably at least to know it, but that didn't mean I could do it again. But I think, to me, something like that, unless somebody...
We can provide you with a clip of video from that cell if you'd like to see that, how clear, with lights on, lights off, just to give you a good idea how well it works.
Yeah, like I said, I just want to do my due diligence that the family asked me, and I wanted to bring it up. Thank you.
Is that okay with the rest of you if they come before us in our May meeting?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, this may be out of order, but these cameras look at everyone, including the inmates and including all of our staff. So, you know, it may raise a higher level of standard of performance, but if we're not performing, we will also be caught in the very act. So we have to be very careful about it. This is a two-edged sword.
Okay, we're good then. All right. So May 23rd is the next meeting. So who do we have next?
Okay, we've got 3 budgets left to go through, and they're pretty straightforward, so we'll zip through them. We just recently presented the Lake Patrol budget, which is titled Special Patrols 54120. We've signed the agreement with the Corps of Engineers. This is a Lake Patrol budget for basically overtime to go patrol the landing areas and the boat ramps. That total for this year is $48,885. It's roughly a $1,500 increase, and the Corps was agreeable to that, and it's reimbursable by the Corps of Engineers.
In other words, up to $48,885, everything we spend on this, the Corps will...
That is correct, sir. Yes, sir.
You ever saved a life or anything then? Patrolling or never?
Well, I know that, you know, they had the one shooting out there that, you know, we patrol those areas, but those boat ramps can be a dangerous place, so I think it's pretty good that we have the people out there.
A lot of activity goes on.
This is no cost to the county. This is total reimbursement.
You heard the request? We have a motion on the request. Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Reed, Commissioner Reed. Call the roll.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay.
The next budget in your book is the Sex Offender Registry budget, 54160. The only notable increase there is just the step increase for this year for this person, and related benefits and things for that budget. There are no other additional increases other than just the payroll increase.
This is this the PREA?
This is for the Sex Offender Registry. It's actually the detective, and and she investigates and tracks a lot of the sex offenders and maintains a registry.
The PREA that you approved several years ago it's built into the detention budget now.
Yes, sir.
Heard the request? We have a motion.
Motion to approve the request as presented.
Motion and a second. Chantal. We can just go. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Boy. Drug enforcement.
Drug enforcement, this budget's being presented roughly the same as last year. The only decrease is a transfer to other funds. So instead of being $145,000, it's only $50,000 this year.
What number is it? What number?
It's going to be 54150. It's the very last item at the bottom. It's 99100-590. It says transfer to other funds.
You heard the request. Do we have a motion?
Approval. Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
The last item is a budget that's not in there is always the one that rolls over every year, which is the special purpose budget. And we normally don't present anything on that just to make the committee aware that we'll have that roll forward, and those balances that are left over each year then roll forward to the next year. So just to make the committee aware. That's all we have.
Is there any in there?
Is there anything in there now? I don't know if I told you, I'd have to.
I'd
No,
have to, yeah. Hey, Tom. All right, thank you. Okay. Any other business? Mr. Mayor?
The Public Safety Committee, you guys overlook the County Fire Rescue Department, and they've already presented their budget to you, but we have this thing called CITUS tax, and we're bumping up against the limits of our CITUS tax to be able to have any additional money to spend for our fire rescue department. So with that being said, I'd like to tell you that I'm seriously thinking about it, and I've had a little bit of discussions already about making a proposal to increase our hotel motel tax. We're currently at 2.5%, and we've been there since sometime, since 1993. We started at 1.5%. We're at 2.5% since 1993. We have authority by the county's private act some many years ago. We can go to 5%, and I'm proposing that we're likely going to make that proposal to the steering committee, and all of the additional money I propose to go as CITUS tax to be used for the fire rescue. That would give us the ability to fund fully, which we're now doing, including when the grant money runs out at the Barfield station. Plus, it would allow us to fully staff a station on the north side at Walter Hill. So I sort of would like for this group, if you think that's a reasonable idea, to sort of endorse this concept and give me a little bit of I guess you could say, leeway to pursue this in a serious manner. This would generate about another $1.6 million in revenue for us that we currently don't have, and it would put us completely with a little bit of extra money to grow with as far as having more situs money than we really need. Mr. Gurley?
What would that make our total situs tax, hotel motel tax? At what percent?
5%.
Yeah, that seems very reasonable. I go a lot of places, it's 10, 15%.
It's 5% in many, many, many places. That's the most any one jurisdiction can have.
But I mean, out of Tennessee, you go some other places and it's...
I'm just talking Tennessee, yes, sir.
And this only applies to motels in the county.
We get the 5% of all of them here, okay?
No, in the unincorporated part. I don't know, but there must be something.
Will this prevent the fire tax?
Yes, sir. We were not going to propose a fire tax, and I think this amount of money will grow as you can see that we're growing. Tourism is growing here every year substantially.
Motion to.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Reed.
Can you read that back, please, Ms. Shelton? I'm okay with the mayor pursuing it. I thought I heard Mr. Piercy say for the full amount. I think that's a conversation we can also continue to have. I don't know if we need to jump to 5% right away per se, but I want to make sure I understand what the amendment is. 2%, I think you said, or 2.5.
It's at 2.5% now. We can take it up to 5%. That's what you have authority to do.
Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Commissioner Chern. Okay. Being no further business.
I just want to say thank you. I know it's tough, but I want to thank each and every one of you. You've got a very hard decision. As leaders, we get elected to lead and have to deal with taxes. And I know I'm just like everybody else. I don't like to see our taxes being raised, but as elected officials and as leaders, we have to lead. And sometimes we have to make those hard decisions. So I want to say thank you from the Sheriff's Office. Thank you for your support.
We're adjourned.